Today we're going to talk about basically setting up a bow that you either purchased or have in the house. So you're going to have a bow, and some of the basic items that you're going to set this bow up are: you're going to need a bowstringer, we're going to need a shelf plate, a rug rest, you're definitely going to need a string, and a knocking point. And over here I have a pencil to trace out the design of the shelf, a pair of scissors to cut it with. We have a bow square and a set of knock pliers for setting that all-important knock point, and just my pocket knife for, I'll show you peeling off the adhesive backing. So we've got a bow, we don't know what length string, and there's no markings on the bow. Most of the time the bow is going to have some markings somewhere on the bow that's going to tell you the length of the bow, the poundage of the bow at 28 inches. It might say 62 inches, 55 pounds at 28 inches. Okay, this particular bow, we need to find out what the length is, and a quick way to determine that is to just get a tape measure, and what you're going to do is you're going to go from string groove to string groove, and you're going to follow the shape of the bow. This is nothing real critical. It doesn't have to be exact, it just has to be close. And I come up to 60.5 inches. This is a 60-inch bow. They very rarely ever made anything that wasn't even numbers. It's going to be 58 inches, 60 inches, 62, 64, and so on. So this is probably a 60-inch bow. It's also a recurve. And the rule of thumb on a recurve is the string should be 4 inches shorter than the bow. So we've got a string here, and to measure the proper length of a string, you want to straighten out these ends. You just stretch it out on a table. I've got a little nail on my workbench. I hook the string on there. I hook my ruler. And you're basically going to follow that string all the way to the end. And you'll see I have a 56-inch string. So this should be the right string for this bow. What we're going to do is we're going to string the bow up and check it. Now on a double loop bowstring, you're going to have two loops. One is going to be a lot larger than the other one. The larger one always goes on the top limb. That is so that it can slide down this limb to be strung up. So get that string in the string grooves, pull it a little tight, and you have to use a bowstringer. This is one that we use in the shop religiously. It's very safe. You want to check to make sure that that string is in those grooves. Otherwise it's going to pop off. Some of the basic things we're going to be checking is brace height, which is from the throat of the grip to the string. Recurves, it's pretty easy. There's going to be some grooves sanded in a limb. They're called string grooves. And you want that string to lay in those string grooves. If it was like this, there's way too much string laying on that limb, it's going to make a lot of noise. If you just kind of lift that string up and you look at those string grooves, it should be in them, maybe a little bit extra. But if you look at the bow and it doesn't look like it's half drawn, that's a good string for that bow. That's a great brace height. So we don't have a shelf on here. We don't have a strike plate on here. We're going to put those on. Luckily today all the materials we use are self-adhesive. This is your strike plate. It's just got a backing on it. Just take a knife or a sharp object, pull it off, and you're just going to line that up on the bow. Press it in place. It's that easy. Okay, now we have to get a shelf plate on there. It's a little bit different. The shelf plate material again is adhesive back, but it's square. And if you hold it up here, there's all kinds of it hanging off the bow you don't need. So I take a pencil, I will hold it against there, and I'll just take this pencil and get in there and trace it. Take a regular pair of scissors. You can use a pen, a magic marker, whatever you want. But you cut that shape out. As long as the backing's on it, you haven't hurt anything. Put it back on there. I've got a little extra, so you can do some trimming. I'm going to make it a little shorter here. And make it a little shorter there. Until it fits just the way I like it. Now you can clean the surface off with mineral spirits or a thinner. I'd be careful because you never know, that thinner might remove the finish. I just like to use like just a rag to clean that off. Soap, water, warm soap and water will work. These are real durable rust we sell. Goes on very good. It'll stick to even a little bit of an oily surface. So you get the backing off. Touch it down. That's it. You got your strike plate and rug rest on there. Now what we're going to do, put a knock point on. Knock point is put on to make sure that that arrow is sitting on the string properly. So you're going to need a bow square, you're going to need knock pliers, you're going to need a knock. You put the square on your string and you just slide it down until it touches. This bottom edge of this bow square represents the bottom of your arrow. So your arrow is going to be sitting in here like this. So if you would slide that up, and you always knock under your arrow, this knock point has to be off that shelf. And on this bow square, there are a number of lines, and you use those lines for reference. On every bow I set up, I like to set this knock point a ½ inch above the shelf. So your arrow is going to be sitting right in here. The way I have it set up, that arrow is actually going to have a little dip, like it's going down. But I found out over the years that this is a very good knock point to start with. If you start shooting your bow and that arrow is going out of there and the back end is going up and down like this, that knock point is off. You have to either slide it down a little or slide it up. So you do need a bow square and a pair of knock pliers to set this. And once you set this knock point, it's not a very tight squeeze. If you get too tight, you get a possibility of pinching your serving and cutting it, and then this will unravel, and you have to either learn how to serve your own string or buy a new string. So we're ½ inch above center. Other than some silencers on here you might need, you're ready to shoot. You got your strike plate, you got your shelf. We're all set to go with this bow. Now it's just a matter of finding what spine arrow shoots out of this bow.